If you think HOAs can't touch you because you're not a member, think again. Karen thought she could drag me into hers by force, but the judge's verdict left her in stunned silence. Stick around, because you won't believe how fast her empire crumbled, and if you enjoy stories where the underdog wins, make sure you subscribe for more wild true-to-life tales. I had just moved into my dream property, 3 peaceful acres at the edge of a quiet town, far away from the suffocating grip of homeowners associations, or so I thought. The house was a rustic, 2-story place with a big wraparound porch, surrounded by towering oak trees and a creek running at the back. It was everything my wife and I had worked for over the last decade. We poured every bit of our savings into making it perfect, painting, renovating, planting a vegetable garden, and the best part was that the deed and title explicitly said we were not in any HOA. The previous owner made it clear, and my realtor double-checked. For the first few months, life was bliss, until she appeared. Karen. She was the self-appointed queen of the adjacent subdivision, known for patrolling the neighborhood with a clipboard, sunglasses, and a permanent scowl. The first time I met her, she strutted up my driveway uninvited, peered over my flower beds, and declared in a voice dripping with authority, "Your grass height exceeds HOA regulations. You'll need to cut it immediately." I laughed, thinking she was joking, and told her, "I'm not in your HOA." Her smile froze, her eyes narrowed, and she said, "Oh, everyone in this area is part of my HOA. Some people just don't know it yet." That was my first red flag. Over the next few weeks, she sent me violation notices in the mail, each printed with the HOA letterhead, demanding payment for fees I didn't owe. I ignored them, but Karen didn't. One morning, I came home to find a bright orange, lien notice, taped to my front door, fake, of course, but threatening enough to rattle me. Then came the real blow. I received an official court summons. Karen, acting as president of the Willow Creek HOA, had filed a lawsuit against me for unpaid dues, non-compliance with community rules, and damaging HOA property by installing a fence she claimed was on shared land. My stomach dropped, not because I thought she'd win, but because I couldn't believe someone would go this far over a power trip. My attorney, a sharp-witted local named Mark, looked over the papers and smirked. "She's making a huge mistake. We're going to dismantle this." Court day arrived, and Karen strutted in wearing a blazer with the HOA's logo embroidered on the pocket, clutching a thick binder of evidence. She sat at the plaintiff's table, tapping her nails impatiently, convinced she was about to humiliate me. The judge, an older man with steel-gray hair and an expression that could cut glass, listened as Karen launched into a 30-minute rant about how I was destroying neighborhood property values and endangering the integrity of the HOA. When it was our turn, Mark calmly stood and presented the original property plats, subdivision maps, and the legal documents showing that my parcel had been excluded from the HOA's founding declaration. He even produced a notarized affidavit from the subdivision's developer confirming that my property was never, and could never be, under the HOA's jurisdiction. Karen's face went from smug to pale in under 30 seconds. But Mark wasn't done. He presented proof that Karen had been collecting dues from several other homeowners whose properties were also never legally part of the HOA, effectively committing fraud. The courtroom murmured. Karen tried to interrupt, waving her bylaws in the air, but the judge held up a hand. Then, in the moment I'll never forget, the judge leaned forward and said, "Not only does this HOA have no authority over the defendant, but based on this evidence, it appears the HOA itself was never properly established in accordance with state law. Therefore, I am dissolving it effective immediately." The room went dead silent. Karen blinked, stammered, and then blurted out, "You can't do that." The judge replied, "I just did." The gavel came down, and just like that, the Willow Creek HOA ceased to exist. Outside the courthouse, the other homeowners, many of whom had suffered under Karen's reign, surrounded me, shaking my hand and thanking me for standing up to her. Over the next few weeks, word spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. People tore down HOA signs, repainted their homes, and planted gardens that would have never passed Karen's scrutiny. Karen herself disappeared from public view, though I later heard she tried to start a new neighborhood committee, which fizzled out after no one showed up to her meetings. As for me, I went back to my peaceful life. My fence stayed up, my grass grew as tall as I liked, and my property felt even more like mine than before. But I learned something important. Bullies don't always show up in dark alleys. Sometimes they wear blazers, carry clipboards, and call themselves president. And if you ever face one, don't just defend yourself, take away their power. That day in court, we didn't just win for me, we freed an entire neighborhood. And I'll tell you this, seeing Karen's face when the judge dissolved her HOA. That was worth more than any victory I've ever had. So, if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more real-life battles where justice prevails, hit that subscribe button, because I've got plenty more where this came from.